Hello, Steve White, TrekBoy89 for Steve Arts89, Star Trek's Gatekeeper. Well, there was an interview with Anson on TrekMovie.com, which gave me some hope. It's been a bit of a rollercoaster ride. Every other thing makes me worry about the new series versus every other thing makes me feel optimistic about the new series. But this was an optimistic moment. The interview was done by Anthony Pascal, but I'll still read it anyway. The first question was, what has been the most exciting thing for you in getting to bring Pike to life in this new way? He said several things. On the level of the show, what we wanted to do was to reinvigorate the sense of excitement that people got from the original series, even to just turn on the TV. Because it wasn't just about where the Enterprise would end up, it was where the Enterprise would begin. What new planet were we going to be on? That's why it's called Strange New Worlds. And for me, as this guy playing Pike, I wanted to really delve further in. We got to see him lead a crew that was not his own on Discovery, and now we get to see him lead his own crew. And I really wanted to flesh out that tremendous sense of empathy that he has, which it's going to go hand in hand with his humanity. I think that's partly what makes him such a good leader and a captain. They talk about his command style. I'm not going to read the whole interview. And he basically says, well, when one of my crew members walks into a room, basically, I'm not the most important thing in the room. It's not about me. And also how he's dealing with knowing what his end is. That's affecting how he looks at all the characters and how he can help them. But the most interesting thing is this question, and it's a bit leading. As a fan of the original series, you know that the show was rife with allegories and it wasn't afraid of politics. Do you feel that Strange New Worlds is more or less like that, and does it have a point of view on contemporary issues? He said, I don't think our job is to have a point of view. I think it's our job to raise questions. I think a TV show, at its best, can serve as a metaphorical platform to discuss other stuff that's going on right now. You don't have to have a discussion if you're preaching. And you can't have a discussion if you're preaching. There's no way to have a discussion if you're preaching. The best thing you can do is to raise questions, look at things in a new facet, shedding a different light on it, and then entrusting that we've done enough work to make it as shiny and interesting an object as possible, and trust that sense of curiosity that leads us to the stars in our audience, and that they will think more about these things. So that actually is basically what we've been saying, serious critics of Discovery and New Trek for the whole time, is that it's not about overt contemporary politics. It's about allegory, metaphor, and letting people, giving them enough to lead them to a situation and allow them to look at it objectively and learn something objectively when you take the politics out of it. Because once you have the politics and you're preaching one side or the other side stops listening no matter what you do. So the fact he gets that makes me feel very optimistic. But is he just telling us what we want to hear in the interview? Is he just saying what people like me want to hear? Or is this a philosophy that's actually filtered through the writing and the production of the show from the top down? Was it something that he said, I want this to be part of the show and how part of the show works, when they were negotiating with him to do the show? Because it seems like there was a lot of negotiating because of all the issues of how the show came into being. And people talk about playing Pike, and he's basically saying, well, there wasn't a lot of groundwork. Like, there wasn't actually a lot for me to stand up to, really, because they didn't do a lot with him. He had one episode, but it did make a huge impression. But we wanted to move him further from that character and basically to say that's him at one point of his life and this is him at a different point of his life, so it can be different. So that's something he's said before, like this is second act Pike. And he's basically following what the writers are doing. That's what they want to do. My only worry about that is that I do feel like they're wasting time. We could have spent like 5 years with that Pike and then gotten to this Pike and gotten, like, say, 10 years out of the series. Most, I'm guessing, we're going to get five years out of this series. And we could have gone 7, 8, 9, 10 if we had a really good Star Trek show, without all the old-fashioned network issues that the original series had, just a pure Star Trek show. It could go for like 5, 10 years easy. It didn't have to be 3 years or 7 years or whatever. So the fact, I feel like they're kind of putting it into a time frame worries me a little bit. Because if it's great, why would you want to end it? That's what I'm afraid of with that. They talk about the wonderful crew, and he sings the praises of Rebecca Romaine, who's basically acting like a hostess and everyone's taking care of everyone. The last question was, you've been involved with Star Trek for a while now. What is the most striking thing that has happened to you with your interactions with the fandom during your time with the franchise? He said, I have to lead with the most obvious answer, which is to see the fan movement to want to make the show happen. It changed my life. It goes beyond just another job, albeit at a very particularly bad time for actors. But my inclusion in this universe has fleshed out my love of Star Trek. It's brought me into the family and culture of Star Trek, not just the fandom of Star Trek, but it's given me the wherewithal to trust my ability to have a family. It's given me a lot, and I'm grateful for it. I think, basically talks about meeting people from NASA and Nichelle Nichols and William Shatner and so forth. And then he goes, I don't know, I'm struggling for words to get across to people how completely effing weird this is, that I'm the captain of the Enterprise. Like, can you imagine? It's bizarre. But there are so many times, only so many times you can say, why me? And then you just have to shrug your shoulders and go, okay, I guess it's me. But it doesn't stop being surreal, and I hope that feeling continues throughout the entire thing, because it comes with a tremendous sense of not just luck, but of responsibility. So that was a nice interview. I like Anson Mount. I met him. He was very diplomatic. I told him right up front, I'm a Star Trek purist. I don't like Discovery, but I like you and your portrayal of Pike, and I'd like to see a Pike series. And he was very diplomatic about it. He said, well, you have an opinion. There's nothing worse than mediocrity. And I'm like, well, okay. But yeah, so he was nice. He was cute in person. I wish I'd gotten a photo with him, but it was between that and seeing a Q&A with Dawn Wells, which I'm glad I went to now because she died from COVID. So I'm glad I got to meet her briefly when I did, and ask her about her time on Roseanne. I don't know why that was what interested me. But yeah, Pike, new interview, makes me optimistic because he gets it. The actor gets it. Now, whether he's just worked out what to say for the press stuff or whether it's actually something he's bringing into the show, or is it something he can bring into the show as the show goes on and he gets more clout, can he actually affect what they do and don't do and what they say, and how the direction of it. So either way, it can't be a bad thing for the lead actor of the show to actually understand elements of the show and how they work properly. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm still on the fence. We've got about 2 weeks, I think, till the show's on, and I just want it to be good. I just want one good Star Trek show. If they're gonna say that the Star Trek universe is different and we have different shows and all the different elements or different universes, that's fine. If at least we have one in the original Star Trek universe, or one that at least feels like the original Star Trek universe, the canon universe, not the Prime universe, the JJ version of that original universe. If we can just get one show that feels like Star Trek, because I know someone talked about Picard saying, oh, do all these people complaining about Picard have a point, or they just like to complain? I'm like, no, we have many points, many issues we're not happy with. We had something that was brilliant. It's gone. We've been given something else that is flawed. We want those things fixed. We want those things that we lost back. We want the things that made Star Trek unique. We want the exploration of ideas rather than the preaching of ideas. We want the allegory and the just everything I talked about before. We want that back, and that's what this show is promising. But whether they're just promising that, hoping we'll sign up for a month or two before we realise it's not what it is, or whether they're actually going to deliver, I don't know. But I'm not going to talk for 10 minutes. I think I'm done. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I just want it to be over. I just want to see the first couple of episodes and know either way if it's going to be good or bad. Then I can either get used to enjoying it, get used to watching it, look forward to it, or just put it in the hate watch, have to do it for reviews to save people from actually watching it like I do for Picard and Discovery, which is what that is at this point. But yep, I'm going to go. Thanks, bye.